cases where first responders committed a crime. Number 1. Serial Firestarter in South California. John Leonard Orr, a respected Glendale fire captain, an arson investigator, secretly set fire across South California throughout the 1980s. Investigators began noticing identical incendiary devices, a cigarette, matches, rubber band, and yellow paper at multiple fire scenes. A surviving device from a 1997 Fresno conference fire finally provided the forensic link pointing towards John Lennon Orr. Mr. Orr used his insider knowledge to create fires he could later solve, building his reputation as an expert, while fueling the very crimes he was assigned to prevent. After years of suspicion, he was arrested in 1991 and later convicted of arson and multiple murders. His case remains one of the most disturbing examples of a first responder manufacturing disasters for personal gratification. Number 2. Johannesburg paramedics ambushed as gangs hijack ambulances for drugs and equipment. In late 2024, Johannesburg saw a surge of violent attacks on ambulance crews responding to emergency calls. Paramedics were ambushed, robbed and assaulted, and in several cases murdered by organized gangs targeting high-value medical equipment, controlled drugs, and even the ambulances themselves. Many attacks were coordinated using fake emergency calls designed to lure crews in isolated places with the intent to cause harm. A joint investigation by Johannesburg Metro Police, SAPS, and EMS unions revealed a structured criminal network that monitors hospitals, identified well-equipped ambulances, and relayed their movements to ambush teams. Despite several arrests, attacks continued into 2025, forcing the cities to deploy armed escorts for emergency responders. The crisis turned routine medical calls into tactical operations, making paramedics some of the most targeted workers in the region. Number 3. Danish nurse exposed in hospital's opioid murders after years of suspicious death. Between 2012 and 2015, Danish nurse Christina Hansen caused a series of cardiac arrests at Nykøbing Falster Hospital by administering unauthorized doses of morphine and diazepine to patients who did not require them. The pattern went unnoticed for years because the deaths occurred during night shifts and were initially attributed to natural deterioration in already ill patients. Suspicion grew only when a colleague noticed an unusual high number of resuscitations and fatalities linked to Hansen's shifts. A hospital review and subsequent toxicology tests revealed opioid levels far beyond therapeutic ranges, exposing a consistent pattern of overdosing. Hansen was arrested in 2015, and she was convicted of 1 murder, 1 attempted murder, and 1 attempted manslaughter, with the verdict upheld in 2017. Her case became one of Denmark's most disturbing examples of healthcare workers manufacturing medical crisis from the inside the hospital itself. Number 4. UK paramedics caught replacing morphine with water in ambulance drug theft scandal. Between 2014 and 2015, several paramedics within the West Midlands Ambulance Service stole controlled substances such as morphine and fentanyl from ambulance drug kits. To avoid detection, they refilled the empty vials with saline or water and resealed them using heat or glue. This meant that trauma victims, cardiac patients, and crash survivors were unknowingly receiving placebo injections during critical emergencies. A 2015 audit, supported by a whistleblower report, uncovered widespread tampering, such as missing narcotics, altered drug logs, and vials showing microscopic needle marks. Multiple paramedics were dismissed and prosecuted, and the scandal triggered a nationwide overhaul of controlled drug security procedures across UK ambulance services. Number 5. German paramedic exposed for poisoning patients during ambulance transport. Between 2003 and 2005, Bavarian nurse, an emergency transport worker, secretly administered lethal doses of muscle relaxants and sedatives to patients under his care. While most of his murders occurred inside of a hospital, investigators later confirmed that he also tampered with IV bags and administered unauthorized drugs during ambulance transport. causing sudden respiratory collapse that he could attribute to natural deterioration. The case broke open when a pharmacy audit revealed massive discrepancies in the hospital supplies of Lithanon, triggering a toxicology review that linked multiple unexplained deaths. He was arrested in 2004 and convicted in 2006 of 29 murders, making him one of Germany's most notorious serial killers. Number 6, this is for you Americans. Apparently this occurs in your area too. Ohio paramedic jailed after swapping morphine with saltwater in ambulance kits. In 2012, a Columbus paramedic was arrested after investigators discovered he had been stealing morphine from ambulance drug kits and replacing it with saline. Wow, I haven't heard that word before. So original. The scheme collapsed when a trauma patient reported excruciating pain despite being told he has been given morphine. Hospital staff tested the vial and found it contained only salt water, prompting, and you guessed it, an internal review of controlled substance kits. At this point, you might as well get used to the charges. The paramedic was arrested and convicted. Blah, 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 blah. He became an example. Number 7. Sicilian ambulance workers arrested for sedative killings tied to funeral homes kickbacks. Between 2012 and 2017, ambulance workers in Catania, I don't know how to pronounce it, were accused of injecting terminal or elderly patients with air injections to accelerate death, allowing them to hand the bodies to a specific funeral home that paid cash kickbacks. The scheme relied on the ambulance as a controlled environment, no cameras, no oversight, no ability to declare a patient dead without immediate scrutiny. The funeral home's uncanny speed, often arriving within minutes, eventually drew suspicion. A log-running investigation culminated in 2017 when several ambulance workers were arrested on charges linked to murder, mafia association, gee, I haven't heard that one before, and corruption. The case exposed a mafia-style death acceleration racket with emergency responders profited from the death of the very people they were supposed to save, turning the ambulance into a revenue-generating tool for the funeral underworld. Last but certainly not least, number 8. Sydney paramedics charged after using ambulance databases to track and stalk female patients. In 2020, a Sydney paramedic was arrested after investigators discovered he had been using ambulance dispatch logs and patient care database to stalk women he had transported. By accessing internal systems, he obtained home addresses, phone numbers, and medical details, and used that information to follow or contact victims outside of any professional context. Several women reported repeated unexplained encounter with the same paramedic, triggering an internal review. He was arrested for stalking, misuse of restricted medical data, and breach of privacy. The case became Australia's most disturbing example of emergency service access being turned into a stalking weapon.